Hello, and welcome to another day of English 2. I'm your online instructor, Miss Abear. As a reminder, we are working on a personal narrative unit. Today, we are going to be looking at a new text, but as a whole, we are looking at a common lit unit that is coming of age. And so our essential question is, what experiences lead us from childhood into adulthood? And at the end of this, or actually at the midpoint of this unit, we're going to be looking at a personal narrative. And you are going to describe an experience that has been part of your transition out of childhood. And when you're deciding on a moment to write about, you want to consider one of the following or all of the following: a loss that you have experienced, a realization or difficult truth that you learned, a new responsibility that you had to take on, and or a risk that you decided to take. And let me just tell you, right now, this is the last text that you're going to read before you start the writing process. So when you come back tomorrow or the next time you come back to our lessons, you will begin looking at the expectations for this personal narrative that you're going to be writing. So get ready, and I hope that you've really been thinking about those questions. Today we are going to look at and read an article about John F. Kennedy and how he inspired children and youth 50 years ago, and how that has impacted people even today. The title of it is John F. Kennedy Inspired Us Then and Now. And it looks at his life and legacy when it comes to the youth of the 1960s. I forget when he was president. I don't remember all the dates because I'm an English teacher, not a history teacher. But here's a timeline of those key events. He was the youngest person ever elected to be president of the United States. If I remember correctly, though, Teddy Roosevelt was the youngest president that's ever been, and that was because he was vice president when McKinley was assassinated. So a little bit of a history lesson there. So, but John F. Kennedy was the youngest who was ever elected. And so here you see a timeline of events. In 1961, he was sworn in as the 35th president of the United States. He called for the civil rights struggle to really come to an end. He put out there and really explained to the American people the atrocities that continued with civil rights, and he really wanted to make this world a better place. Well, in 1963, he was in Dallas, Texas, doing some big publicity thing as presidents do, and he was assassinated. And when that assassination happened, people from all over the United States and even all over the world really mourned his death because they saw Kennedy as someone that they could aspire to be. They saw Kennedy as that hero that America needed at the time. So the article that we're going to read today details kind of some youth of that time and what the assassination, how it impacted them, and then these people wrote into a newspaper that said, you know, this is how at the 50th anniversary, how much John F. Kennedy has impacted who I am today. So this is a series of letters. You should have a copy of that in front of you. Hopefully your teacher has given you a copy. Here is a little bit about the articles themselves, or this particular article. But what I want you to notice is that this is a series of letters, and each letter is signed off by the author of that. So what you need to see is that sometimes editors or writers will publish a collection of pieces from various authors, and they will incorporate quotes. Sometimes they will put the entire selection or that entire letter in. And so the really cool thing, or the thing that you really need to pay attention to, is that when you get to a question about the text that has a specific author, like what did Robert Silverson say about X? Then you go back to the text and you skim it, and you want to look for those times where Robert Silverson was the writer of that letter. So whether it is an entire letter that's been published, or whether it is a specific place in the text where an editor or a writer quotes that person, that is the best way for you to go back to a text and answer those questions. And you know on these Common Lit texts that you're going to have questions at the end of every single one of those. And those questions are aligned to your map assessment. Today, you're going to be doing some partner and independent reading. And you will notice that on your paper that you have in front of you, it will say partner reading and independent reading. Also, just like all of the other text with this unit, there are questions in the margins. You need to answer those questions. If it's independent reading, you want to answer those questions independently. If it's partner reading, you may answer those with your partner. And then when you get to the end of the text, you need to make sure that you answer all of those questions. And so today, because it is independent and partner reading, I'm not going to be doing any read alouds today, so it's all on you. That is all that I have for today. So until next time, happy reading and happy writing next time.